Hi all, if you are a new business owner or you're someone who's thinking about going into business, this video is for you. So this is something which I'm quite passionate about, to be honest, because I run a business and I know firsthand how difficult it can be to get business, but also I know how rewarding it can be on the other end once you get that work. So this is just a very short presentation, essentially, to help those of you straight away to implement some tools so that you can get started with getting some work. So this is tailored for new and existing business owners, but I would say it's more for people like me who are consultants who are trying to get work and they're very new to running their own business. But hopefully this can help a number of you. So in terms of what we're going to talk about today is sources of work. And sources of work is very important because if you don't know where to get your work from, then how do you expect to get work? You're going to get lucky perhaps from time to time if you don't think about it, but sources of work is something which you really need to think about from the outset. Namely, where am I going to get my work from? Who do I need to speak to? Where do I need to be? All these different things. So I've got this empty page here, and hopefully by the end of it, you'll be better equipped. So let's jump into it. So number one, sources of work. I believe, I've got my pen here, is your inner circle. By your inner circle, I mean family, and friends. This sounds pretty obvious, but it's one of the easiest places to get work from. Now, I'm not saying that you sell to family and friends, no. But what I'm saying is you let your family and friends know exactly what it is that you do. And you just don't tell them once or twice or a handful of times. If they ask you how you're doing and what you do, you emphasize that, you're well, etc., but that you're working on your business, working on your career, whatever it is, you're working on your business. And whether it's, for example, you're a web designer or a graphic designer, you mention what exactly you're doing. So let's just take the case of a web designer. You will say to them, I'm working on a website for this company and I'm building the website, etc., because it's about reminding people that, number one, what you do, but more specifically, what exactly you do. Because you might be working in something, you might have a business in something that you think is easy to understand, but that's because you do it day in, day out. But to other people, it might not be so easy. So with family and friends, they take for granted that they know what you do, they've known you for a long time, etc., etc. But the key thing with family and friends, as well as being a source of work, is just reminding them specifically about what exactly you're doing. Be specific and leave those nuggets in there, in those conversations for them to ask you questions on. And I also say family and friends as a source of work because they're the easiest people to approach. So they're closest to you, they know who you are, so you can talk about these things with them without feeling pressured as such. So it's really a good way to get started. It's not the best source of business I've found. I've had my mum actually recommend me to someone quite a long time ago. But I've had a few things come from friends initially, actually, and occasionally, every now and again, you might get some work. But I think fundamentally, they know you, they trust you, and if you say you're very good at something and you're very clear about what you do, it's a very good source of work as well. So It's not as effective as other sources, but it's still a valid source of work. So family and friends, constantly remind them what you do and be specific about what you do. Keep it super simple. I think there's this term from memory. Oops, my pen has just gone a bit crazy. Hang on. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple, stupid. That's something to remember. So, number 2. Second source of work are your peers. And by your peers, I actually mean your colleagues. People that you either work with now before you're going into your own business, or people you've worked for in the past, because these people are the best source of people understanding how good you are at something. And if you're good at something and you've worked with people who realize that you're good at something, it's very easy for them to recommend you for work. Because let's just take an example. If you're a web designer again and you've worked for a development agency and they take on the instructions over a certain value, you could speak to your peers and say, look, can I take on work which is below that value, for example? And if they've worked with you, they'll know that you're good at what you do and that you service the clients well. And that can be a good source of business as well. Now, some businesses, some companies that you work for might not like this, so you obviously have to be clear about any competition, conflicting interests and stuff like that. But they can be a good source of work, once you get over that non-compete clause, that's the thing. They can be a good source of work because they know exactly who you are, the quality of work that you deliver. So that is a very good source. And they might even ask for referrals and things like that, but we'll come on to that in a bit. So your peers, also a very good source of work. Now, number 3, for me, I would definitely say, depending on what you do, number 3 can be extremely powerful. So, sorry, my pen, I'm not too sure what's going on today. Portals. Portals are very interesting. So for me, I work as a surveyor in the UK, and what we have here in the UK, and I'm sure you have it in other countries, are portals when you can find people to help you with certain things. So when people need a surveyor here in the UK, they can either go to one of a surveying body, or they can go on a portal where they can find a surveyor. Now, from my perspective, what that means is I have to register my business on that portal. People will search in their area for people who can service them, and I would be one of those people that comes up, and then I would pay per inquiry, and I would get the customer's details, and then I would proceed to either call or email them. The reason why this is very good is because, yes, you have to pay for the leads, but you are leveraging, if you're with a portal that is very good at marketing, let's say they're advertising on TV or the internet a lot, whatever the case may be, Instagram, then you're actually leveraging their marketing power to get interest in your business, right? And yes, you are competing with other businesses in your area, for example, but it gets your business exposure. And if this service is very good and there are a lot of leads, then it is a great way to have conversations with people and to win business. Now, obviously, because a pool of competitors is being provided to the client or the lead, they now have an option, and of course it brings the prices down. But when you're starting out, if you're getting multiple inquiries per day, yes, the prices are down, but it gives you more opportunities to generate money for your business, to help with that initial cash flow, to get it a bit healthy. It's not always a good source of long-term business, depending on which way you want your business to go. but it's very good. And this is something which I did relied on quite a lot of when I started out. I registered with a couple of portals, registered the business with a couple of portals, and I was getting multiple inquiries per day. It is hard work, emailing, phoning leads, and trying to put proposals together and things like that. But it really got my business going very, very quickly. And the key thing is that you're leveraging another business's marketing power. They want you on there, and they want people to go on that website because they make money out of every lead. So to give you another example, on one of the platforms I would pay, I think it's between £6 to £10 per lead. But that £6 to £10, or let's just say $10 per lead, would result, if I were able to convert one person, that would be at least $600 or $700. It's a bit of a no-brainer. So this is something to definitely look at, and have a look online to see if there are any portals for the service that you're offering. So this is a very, very good source of business. Now, the fourth one is interesting as well. So I would say it's called referrals from, let's say, complementary businesses. 3 and 4 are very powerful. 4 on its own is very powerful as well. So what I mean by this is very simple. If you're a web designer, you should be speaking to other businesses in your industry to see whether you can service their clients. So if, for example, you manage to hook up with a graphic designer, you should be saying to that graphic designer, Mr. Graphic Designer, you're fantastic at design and everything like that. I can actually build out websites for your clients. If you recommend me these clients, I will give you either a percentage or just a flat referral fee if you recommend work my way. This has been very powerful for me. It's been very powerful for my business, and it can be very powerful for you, because a lot of the times in business, you might offer a product or service, and you're not thinking a lot of the time that actually, where does the customer go after they finish dealing with me? Or, and if you do care about your service, the level of service that you provide, then it's always good to take an interest in the customer journey, not just the journey in your business, right? Their overall journey. So this is extremely powerful. If you're a web designer or anything like that, reach out to other people who come before you in the process, and say that you're happy to give them a referral fee. And what I would do is give them a healthy referral fee, so that you stand out and that they're actually interested in referring to you. I wouldn't actually be stingy about it at all. But also, you obviously want to pitch not just the referral fee, you want to pitch to them how good you are and how valuable that continuation of service will be for them as a business as well, because they will want to know that you're looking after their clients. And if their client comes back to them and says, oh yeah, that web designer you recommended me to be absolutely amazing, who does it look good on? It looks great on you. So definitely have a look at referrals. It's such a powerful way to really get business. And then number 5, there are loads of sources, by the way, but I think we'll do 5 for today. Number 5, everyone's fear. Networking. I really have to fix this pen. It's gone absolutely broken. But anyway, networking. And networking, to be fair, you could say involves all of these elements above. But by networking, I should put in brackets, repeat networking. Man, my writing is so messy, just having a look at it now. Repeat networking. By repeat networking, I mean actually going to networking events on a regular basis. Now, this isn't something which I have done yet for various reasons, primarily because we might be relocating and there's all sorts of things going on. But repeat networking is extremely powerful, and I know someone who does this every week, actually, and he has generated a lot of work by doing this, by meeting with the same group of people every week, by constantly pitching what he does every week, reminding people what he does every week, and seeing how he can be of service to others every week. And that builds a lot of trust, because people can see whether you're consistent in your offering, whether you're truthful about what you're offering and your experience. And it also allows you as that person to refine your offering, to refine your delivery. And the repeat networking, I think fundamentally it just builds trust, because I've been to networking events before. You just go, these sort of one-off networking events, you go, you talk to people, and you might hear from them again, right? You might hear from them again. And they're not useless, but there is a value in being with the same group of people. There is a value in seeing them over and over again, especially other successful business owners. You can talk strategy as well. You can talk, get some tips on how to run your business and things like that. But there is something powerful about a collective of people who are actively referring business to each other because they trust each other. And look, I'm not saying to only do the repeat networking. Obviously, go to other networking events and network with people and things like that. But if you are in the right group, then this can be incredibly powerful. And what I would do is try and create a group or join some sort of group that you would like to get work from. So let's say if you're trying to get work from other businesses that are slightly bigger than yours, rather than businesses that are at the same level as you, because you want to leverage as well other people's experience. You want to leverage other people's experience, their network as well, especially if they've been in business for a bit longer than you. It can be really powerful. They've experienced the highs, they've experienced the lows, they've networked with people who they trust, then they've come across people they don't trust, and they probably are at a stage where they have their own network of people that are dependable and that they're happy to refer people to, as long as you deliver a good product or service. So that is my sort of 5 tips. Number 1, your inner circle, your family and friends. Number 2, your peers at work or people you've worked with. Number 3, portals. Number 4, referrals. Give referral fees to other people in your industry. And number 5, networking. The other thing I would say as a bonus, I'll give a bonus as well. There's so many different sources. I don't think you should just rely on one source. Clients. Number 6, clients. We'll just do this as a bonus. I'll just say a few things on this. Never take for granted that your clients know exactly what you do. You might have completed work for them in the past, but they might not be aware that you offer a wider variety of services. So for example, with my business is mostly catered to residential, but a lot of my clients don't know that I also do commercial. And that's in part because I don't push the commercial side of my business as much. But it's up to you to remind your clients, number one, that you exist, and number two, that you do offer other types of work, for example. So I'll give an example. 2 weeks ago, I spoke with a client who I've worked for, I think, 2 or 3 times, actually no, 4 times actually, in different type of instructions. And then I asked her, I said, is there anyone else in your network that you think could use my services? And she had to think. And she said, okay, what services do you offer? And I said, well, I do this, 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 and this. And she said, oh, I didn't know you did that. I actually have a project here which you could help me with. Can you actually prepare a proposal for me? And I was blown away. I was blown away. I've worked with this person 4 times and she didn't know, despite it saying in my signature, despite it saying on my website, although discreetly, that I offered this service. She didn't know. So what does that tell you? People are not constantly thinking about what you do. People are thinking about themselves and what they need to get done. So they might see things, messages and whatnot, that you offer this or offer that, but it might not register with them the first time. So you can never take for granted that people know exactly what you do. So with your clients, don't just end the job and never speak to them again. Call them back randomly. This is what I do. I call them back randomly. If you have a CRM, you can say, call back on this date or whatever. Call them back, show an interest, find out what they're doing and how you can be of service to them, and remind them who you are, but also what you do. And you'll be surprised that people will be quite appreciative that you've called to check in on them. And they might be completely blown away that you offer other services which they could benefit from. So that is something which never take for granted. The people that have already invested with you, they know you, they trust you if you've done a good job, and they probably won't hesitate to use you again or refer you to their friends and family and peers and whatnot. So look, I hope that's been very helpful to you. These are just 6 points. There are many different sources of business, but for me, I think these are the main ones which I would refer to if I were starting out again. And on that point, if I were starting out again, I would definitely do number 5, probably first, to be honest. I'd probably start with number 5 first, get myself into a networking group or 2 and just be consistent every week, show up, over-deliver, all of those things. And then I would definitely say things like portals, absolutely fantastic if you get the right portal. So I hope that's been of help. If you have any questions, then let me know in the comments. If you need any support with getting your business off the ground and getting your first client, then equally leave a comment and I'll get in touch.